This is ACOFAE. Laura Marie and Jessica Marie proudly present A Court of Fandoms and Exploration, a podcast. Fair warning, everything the hosts say is explicit, full of spoilers and adult content and shall not be used against them. They have opinions. Let's try not to drag anyone for expressing themselves and just have fun for an hour. We all deserve it.
This episode contains spoilers from Death Becomes Her with mentions of Mean Girls, Moulin Rouge, and Gossip Girl. For full list, please see show notes.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to A Court of Fandoms and Exploration, your weekly deep dive into the fantasy, literature, and fandoms that we love. I'm Laura Marie.
And I'm Jessica Marie.
And today we are discussing the 1992 cultural touchstone, Death Becomes Her. And I don't care about anything at all except your opinion. Jessica Marie, please talk to me.
I don't know where to start, except being, I know I have been a disappointment to many friends when they found out that I had never watched that. Like, not many of friends, all of my friends. What do you mean you haven't watched this? This is your shit. Lady Gaga was like, there was a point in the media where they were like, this might be remade. And Lady Gaga was like, I don't want to say in talks. I think everybody was just like, oh my gosh, if this gets remade, Lady Gaga, when we start casting everybody. And I was like, I don't know. I've never seen it. And I know we've had this conversation before about like, I haven't seen a lot of things that might have been like my shit. But one, I definitely wouldn't have seen it because it came out in 92, like when it was initially released. But secondly, I had a sibling. So when you went to the store, if you were looking for rentals or if you're like everything had to be agreed upon. So it was never what I wanted or whatever, never what my brother wanted or anybody else. It had to be agreed on as a family that we could all stomach watch it. So it's like, that's why I missed out on all of these wonderful things that we're finally getting to discuss. And man, I'm mad that any of my friends didn't make me watch this sooner. It's so good. It's so good. It's theatrical. It's campy. You have icons. You have Goldie Hawn. You have Meryl Streep. You have Bruce Willis with hair. Jump scare. I texted you. You said, oh, I was like, I go, oh my gosh, I didn't know Bruce Willis is in this. I only knew about Goldie and Meryl. And you were like, watch it. He has hair. And in my head, I'm like, okay, depending on the time of the release of this episode, we have also recently watched The Fifth Element. And I was like, okay, he had hair then too. It's not good. He has like a toupee's worth of hair in this one. It's so crazy. I was like, what is happening? This is going to be such a fun, wild ride. And every time I thought I knew, I was like, oh, I see where this is going. Which I wasn't initially a fan of because I was like, oh, cattiness. That's not something we see. But then when you get to like the depth of the characters, you see that it's so much more than that. And part of me was a little bit like, oh my gosh, this is exactly like Aelin and Lysandra had to get it out of their system, confront the problem head on, and then it was them against the world. And I loved that. You knew I was going to love this too. I see it in your face. Like, what was your experience with this? You remember the first time you watched it? I want to know all the things.
Okay, so this was that like forbidden older movie. So I guess maybe like a Goldie Hawn thing. The First Wives Club also kind of fits into this genre of movies that were like a little bit too old for me when they came out. Like there's nothing that I relate to in this movie when it came out in 92. Like, I was a child. I was not allowed to watch this, but I distinctly remember the movie poster, the hole through the stomach. It's iconic. Everyone can recognize it. I remember the copy that my parents had of this movie. Oh my, it's just amazing. The first time I saw this movie, I was in high school and it was on TV. So I'm starting my experience off with a TV version, and it was many a year before I saw like an uncut version of this. And let me tell you something. The reactions that I had when I first watched this and the reactions that I have now, like, oh my God. The part in the med spa where Meryl Streep, well, no, like the part where Meryl Streep is like, and you with your like rock hard tits. And then she's like, and you're just laughing at me. And I was just like, oh, damn. Oh.
So how you watching it now is completely different from when you first watched it. Okay.
Yeah. Because now, and I think also this movie was, I don't want to say like ahead of its time.
But it was. It feels like it was.
It feels like it was, but like people, like, here's the thing. People were always doing this shit, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
But like now we're talking about it a lot. Now the obsession with anti-aging is out in the open.
Yeah, whereas it was like, I mean, they say it in the line, like the Hollywood's undead. It's supposed to be like this thing that like everybody knew, but nobody talked about, or like it would be frowned upon if you were somebody who actively got work done. Now we're like, who does your fillers? Who does your Botox? Who are you getting recommendations from? They have Groupons for it. Not that I would get filler off of Groupon. But you have like, there is an industry that nobody's quiet about it. Like, and there's an ownership to it. You're like, yes, I get, yes, I do get work done. No, I'm not going to hide it if it comes up in conversation. I mean, it's fun. And it is that, I mean, it's a huge theme. It's the discussion of vanity. How far will you go? And part of that reason is because of societal norms and expectations that are put onto women. So, I mean, you see it right. I mean, we talk about the pattern. It's the whole movie opens with Meryl's character talking about vanity, not just talking, singing about it, because she's taking lead in a Broadway. And that is the focus. And people are leaving because she's, and she's thinking it's because she's getting older, because she's aging. And that's also a very prominent conversation in media. Men get older and are getting all these, like, men are like fine wine. People get older. They get they're typecasted one way, and women get older and women age, and they're not being treated with the same respect, especially at the time of this movie.
Wrinkle, wrinkle, little star is what she says in the mirror after her show. Here's the thing. Meryl is stunning. She's stunning. She's gorgeous.
She's never not.
She's especially here, she's just like drop dead gorgeous. So in this opening number, 1978 Broadway, Songbird, Sweet Bird of Youth, she's killing it. Like
why people are walking out?
Why are they walking out?
And also rude. Why didn't you at least wait to intermission?
For the break. I mean, it hella rude. But also, like, I was glued to the screen. I was like, yes. Oh my God, she's doing the high kicks. She's doing the dancing. I was like, this is great. But
she had like the hustle is integrated. I was like, it reminds me of & Juliet and What We Know of Six, where you're integrating like popular songs into the current musical. And because even though this movie was in 92, at the time of this opening credit scene, it's 78. So in that same vein, it is those modern songs integrated into a musical.
And they say, like, this is awful. Like, Madeline's here. It's like Waking the Dead. It's just horrible. Again, insane, because she looks incredible. She's killing it on stage. And I think Ernest is the only one that really appreciates it.
With the right reaction. Yes. Standing ovation from Dr. Ernest Manville. And I was like, yes, that is the appropriate reaction to seeing Queen Meryl Streep performing for you on Broadway.
Yep. Oh, boy. I really like this performance from Bruce Willis here. I think it's a very unique performance coming from him. Like, he is this bumbling surgeon who has a crisis and a streak of violence, and is when you look at it on the surface, you're like, oh, okay, but like is kind of a complicated character. Like, they're all kind of complicated characters. And I really like the introduction to it too, because Madeline, after the show, she's meeting her childhood friend Helen, and we're getting her practicing her surprised face. Just great stuff. Jess, tell me about Goldie Hawn here.
Goldie Hawn is Meryl Streep's childhood best friend. They've been best friends forever. But they're also kind of like unadmitting to each other that the other is, they're also like their enemy. And you find out through the story that Meryl is jealous and angry at Helen because Helen came from an affluent family, came from a family who does like a lot of country clubs, and had was just under the impression that Helen's family believed Meryl's family was quote unquote trash. And so she's always held that. She's like, you were, and it's that you were embarrassed of me as a friend. Like, that's what hurt most. What you never not even like you never stood up to me for your parents, because that's its own conversation depending on parental dynamics with people have. But it was like, you didn't stand up for me. You didn't even try to say like, look, it's not me. You were like assimilating with your parents, and that was what hurt the most. So then Meryl made it kind of like her personal agenda. You find out. She's like, yes, I am out to get every man that you liked, because girl fight, right? Like, we've talked about it on our Mean Girls episode. So it was psychological warfare when it came for Meryl's character. She's like, you know what? I'm going to hurt you in a way that you've hurt me emotionally. So she did, and she won every time. And Helen, Goldie Hawn's character, Helen, she had an inkling. She had that gut instinct. I know she's doing it. I know it's intentional. She doesn't know why, but she just knows. It's like, I just know her MO. I want to see. And so she's introducing her fiance, Ernest. I want to see if you're going to pass the test. And he failed.
Miserably.
Failed so hard. Because even when he's meeting Meryl for the first time, he's like, Goldie Hawn's character says, I didn't even know you had a celebrity crush on her. Like, I'm sorry. I feel like we all know our significant others still celebrity crush. We know your friends' celebrity crushes. That's why you send your friends those edits, the fan edits of their celebrity crush. At least good friends do. So it's like Helen is like putting him to the test. Ernest fails and marries all within the first 10 minutes of the movie. So yes, it follows the pattern. That he winds up marrying Meryl's character, Madeline. He
does end up marrying Madeline. I can't get over the line that Madeline says to Ernest.
Her one-liners are gold in this, though.
She's looking at Ernest and she's like, what do you think, doctor? Do I need you? It's like, whoa! Turn on the charm. Oh my God, I think I might need you. Because he is the best plastic surgeon.
Yeah, he is the best. He is renowned. She's like, oh, when my best friend told me she was bringing her fiance, I didn't know it was the friend. And keep in mind, this is a plastic surgeon and not for reconstructive repairs or anything. Is just a cosmetic plastic surgeon in Beverly Hills. And she's obsessed with her youth and her vanity. She is, what is it? She's probably like 40 something in this movie until we flash forward to the book signing where they're all 50.
Right.
Well, the girls are 50.
The girls are 50. And we do. So just as you said, they get married, smash cut, Madeline wedding. And then we smash cut again. 7 years later, Goldie's in a fat suit, depressed, getting evicted, full of cats, watching Madeline get killed on screen. Not a great look for her. Not excellent. Don't love the fat suit. However, it's the 90s. However, if you're going to bash a fat suit, you got to bash Ryan Reynolds too. Bash all the fat suits. So it is what it is. It is what it is. It gets the point across that she is unhealthy,
and depressed.
Unwell and depressed.
And like she is just not in a good mental state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
smash really
cut
bad.
To the group therapy session in the mental health hospital.
Terrible therapist was my first note. Awful, screaming, pulling her away. I'm so sick of you talking about this. It's been 6 months. Again, we have a timestamp on how long it should take for you to heal. No.
Yeah, after 7 years of deep depression.
And honestly, like if you talk about like CPTSD, like this is from since childhood. So they're only starting to earth things in 6 months from her childhood, and she's in her 50s. No.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. This terrible therapist is yelling, and Helen sticks on one word: eliminate.
Yeah, you know what? In Helen's defense, therapist wasn't specific enough. Just like our therapist is. Therapist said, and therapists use this language with a patient in a mental health hospital.
Yeah.
That's on the therapist.
That's on the therapist.
I don't know.
That's on the therapist.
I'm literally the whole movie. Every time I flash to a scene, like you're cheering for everybody. And I know I have sent you a voice memo for Helen for a while. I was like, I don't know. By the end of it, I was like, I'm team both of them.
Yeah. I see it both sides. I see it. We have a timestamp. Another 7 years later. So 14 years later, at the book signing, they say it's been 12 years. That's a little goof.
I was going to say, that was going to be a fun fact. It was like, fun fact.
That's a little goof. I love that, though. 14 years later, we have the mansion. We have the being awoken. You look younger every day. I think I need you to say
It's not Friday yet. I think I want to hear it every day now.
Every day now.
And then afterwards, she goes, oh, wow, thank you. I have never heard, her delivery, Meryl's delivery, that's so kind of you to say. She didn't just tell her to say it. I don't know. The whole movie is great.
It's just fantastic. We have the invitation to Helen's book signing, and then we have Ernest drunk upstairs, passed out, chugging Bloody Marys.
Are we assuming, because at this point, I feel like it's not a spoiler if you're listening, did he lose his license because he's an alcoholic? I just assume that that's implied. Media literacy here, people.
Okay. This is a great question. I am unsure because he's still making buku bucks doing the Undertaker situation that he's doing. And in the beginning of the movie, he's doing that eyelid surgery and he cuts her and there's all that blood that's there and Madeline's there. And there's a line later in the movie that's she turned you into an Undertaker. So I don't know, maybe something happened there. I'm not sure because at the end of the movie spoiler, at the eulogy, they don't really say medical career. They talk about his children and his legacy and his travels and all that stuff.
Yeah, and they said his life began at 50.
At 50, yeah. So maybe.
And he was a preacher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so maybe. I don't know.
Or did he botch that surgery because he was looking she knocked on the surgical window and he looked up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. But Ernest is an alcoholic and he is the Undertaker. He's the celebrity fixer when they die, I guess.
Yeah, he's the mortician, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for all the celebrities. And it must pay incredible.
And that's one of the things somebody says to him at one of the parties. Oh, at the beginning of Helen's book signing and book launch event. So she's like, oh my gosh, I just wanted to thank you. You made my Aunt Helen, or my Aunt Avery, whatever her name is, look so good. It's a shame nobody gets to see your work.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, I just want to point out the face tape, the gloves, and the frownies that Madeline wakes up in ahead of her time. Ahead of her time. And the full
chin strap. Mm-hmm. I thought initially, the first time, actually both times, that was part of like if she had like a Kybella procedure or like a Chown lipo, but it came off so easily. So now hearing you say that, I'm like, oh no, this is just like upkeep. Skincare upkeep. Yeah. But I am very jealous of her being able to sleep with her on her back because she doesn't have the sleep paralysis demons. That's what stops me every time I try. I can't. I scream and I can't. It's awful. It's terrifying.
Ahead of her time.
Little
just
frowny
the frownies. Like it's just so funny. And of course the gloves. The is it awake ghoul. Ernest and Madeline don't like each other anymore. They have a very contentious relationship now. They, I would say, hate each other and do not spend any time together if they can possibly take it. Here we have the med spa. This is the scene that I mentioned earlier. So Madeline is going to go to Helen's book signing, and she goes to the med spa. She's like, I have a very important meeting tonight. I have to look my best. And she's trying to do some plasma separation that you can only do every 6 months. And she's like, it's been that time already. And they're like, it's been less than 3 weeks.
She's like, same thing. I just love a throw money at the problem situation because she really thought it could handle it. And they were like, can't actually for this one.
But then here comes Mr. Chagall. Pop, here I am. Where did you come from? Magic. Just a little bit of magic. Just a little bit. Anna, the attendant, her accent just goes away. Goes away. And
what went from French to super
I'm sorry, Mr.
American.
Chagall. Yeah. And he's like, don't talk, Anna, go away. I was like, ooh. But here we have the really, I guess, the driving force of our plot here. He's like, oh, money's no object. All right, let's talk. Do you know about Liesel von Rumen? Do you know about Liesel? Very select. Very select crowd. I want to be given a card mysteriously and be like, call this number. It's a very select crowd.
Did that not happen at Sleep No More?
I didn't get a card. I got pulled into a room. I mean, it was still very cool, but I would like to be given a card and being like, call this number. It might be magic.
And it's just like the name. It's not like it's just like name, number.
It's like, ooh, I want that. But here, Madeline's like, okay, yeah, thank you. And she's like, oh, weirdo. And she rips up the card. I was like, oh my gosh. But I like the little speech that he gives us because he's like, what if we could change all of this? We are just mortals. Well, maybe we aren't, but again, throw money at the problem. Be in a situation where you can throw money at the problem, because that gets you to eternal youth, which is eternal something, which is what I guess we want.
Eternal youth for 10 years.
Yeah, for 10 years. And then you have to retire, reinvent yourself, whatever. It is a very much Crossroads demon deal. Very fun. Can you just not breathe? Can you just not breathe, Ernest?
I'm telling you, she had some of the best one-liners. And I'm thinking, I wasn't in the audience when this movie came out, but I know the type of person I am because I was watching. I go, this movie, I texted you, I go, this is laugh out loud. I was cackling, I was howling, but I know my sense of humor where I feel like I would have seen this in a theater and I would have been the only one laughing because I just have a very different sense of humor. I know you and I would have been laughing, but I know we would have been getting looks from people it's not that funny. And we're like, That's hilarious. Like, remember in Everything Everywhere All at Once, she goes, I need to go talk to my husband and tell him how much better my life is without him.
Dying. Dead. Hysterical. Laugh out loud. So amazing. But the thing here, though, is when he stops breathing, you can hear a difference. You're like, oh, it really was.
It was intentional. And then what I thought was funny is the first time I watched it, I thought he had earplugs in his ear so he couldn't hear her talk because he was just so over her. And then the second time I watched it, I go, oh, he's just like picking out his ear and being like a dude.
Yeah.
But I really think I would have liked it being I think earplugs would have made it more, like, even more campy. I don't know if you can get more campy than this movie.
It is so campy. It is so campy. Okay, we're at the party. We're at our book launch, right? Ernest is talking shop with that lady, Jess, as you mentioned, and she is repulsed. We have Helen. She's in the red dress. She's looking gorgeous. This is our classic Goldie Hawn. This is what you think of when you think of Goldie Hawn. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous.
This is like her revenge dress.
Yes.
And we love this for Helen because she's been wronged by everybody, and she is thinking bigger picture. She is thinking long game. She is thinking, I'm going to fuck over everybody who has wronged me and put me in this emotional state. And I love that for her.
Yep.
Good for her. And she took matters into her own hand, and she took her therapist's advice. That's for sure.
Yes, she did. Oh my God. It's no. Just tell me about this line, this cutting line. I spoke to my PR woman.
I loved it so fucking much. I really wasn't sure if you would come, but I spoke to my publicist. She said my PR person, and she said, "Oh, Madeline will attend anything from an envelope." I was like, oh. Way to tell Madeline that she's so desperate to be seen that she'll say yes to anything. And then the follow-up was, people could be so mean I fired her. Well, I really didn't fire her. I was like, you could see Madeline glitching. And fun fact, there are people who don't say no to anything. They will take every PR opportunity. And because I'm like, oh, I always see their name on the call sheet. I always see like the photo call of who's attending the event. And I was like, of course they're coming to this. Doesn't even matter. They're not even like... It's hilarious. But Madeline is one of those people.
And the book release is called Forever Young, and which is funny and very ironic. And, you know, you're a fraud later. It's great. It's great. It's great.
And you find out later why the title is the title.
Yep. Oh, it's excellent. It's excellent. Here we have, though, Helen laying the groundwork for her plan. The betrayal is happening. I never blamed you. It was him. Like, he went to you. I couldn't blame you. It was his, all of this. And then to go to Ernest and be like, it was her. She wasted you.
She's dimming your shine. I could always tell when you're hurting. Tell me your woes. And he's like, you could always read me. He's just being a dumb man and realizing I fucked up. I think I could have had this life with this bombshell, and I fucked up. I blew it. And the whole time, she didn't care. Like, she just wanted to fuck them both over.
Yep.
Which fair at that point, because they're both at fault.
She's a woman
from Newark. Dead. And this is 92, mind you. So, like, peak Whitney Houston, too, who is from Newark and also buried there. May she rest in peace. Like, I was like, oh, what a dig.
This is another moment. This is another moment where I was like, oh my gosh, the drama. My goodness. And then it's funny. This, of course, is the breakup between Madeline and Dakota. Madeline, after this whole like book situation, she's like, I can't, like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta go to my teenage 20-something lover. He's gotta be like mid-20s, like, you know. And she goes there and she's like, Dakota! And he's shirtless and he's like, oh my God.
He looks good.
He looks
good,
great.
Yeah. And I'm also very interested because it wasn't like a sugar mama situation either.
Not at all.
So what was he getting? I'm like, what was he getting out of it? Roles? Casting? I don't know. Well, not enough. Yeah, because he was really upset. He's like, you don't ask about me. Because it like leads you to believe that he did care about her to a certain extent. Do you never ask about me, what my wants, what my needs are? Like, do you know what they say when they see us together? So that means that they've been in public together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Flaunting your lovers. Yeah, you know about that? Everyone knows.
You want to know what I was thinking of also in this scene? You know, where they're like fighting outside and they're like being really loud and the neighbors. I was thinking of us talking about the Business or Pleasure episode. It was like,
everyone can hear you.
They're being really loud.
It's like everyone can hear you. So this breakup, though, she's like, you know, we look ridiculous together. They're fighting. And then, you know, she goes to leave, turns around dramatically. And, you know, it's Meryl. She's acting. So it's in her face. You're like, oh my God. Like she feel like all this is compounding. And then it's just like sheets of rain start pouring out of nowhere. It's so fucking funny.
This movie is
just
so
drenches her. You're just like, whoa. And then we have a huge cut to her just like irresponsibly driving in the rain with the little like windshield wipers on the front of the headlights. It's very funny.
We're just doing it.
It's very amusing. It's very amusing. Of course, she's crying. She's wet. She's frantically driving. She sees. Of course, this is Madeline, sees her reflection in the rearview mirror and like
screams at her own reflection. That I was cackling. So like that's what set her off. Her seeing her reflection, and it truly is her seeing her reflection crying in the mirror is what set her off. And she went to the address from the business card that she wrote up.
Mm-hmm. Yep, she goes to Liesel, and our hunky man opens the door. Oh, we've been expecting you. She accepts callers. No worries, no worries. I love this. I love this whole interaction that we have at Liesel's mansion.
Including the Dobermans.
Including the Dobermans.
I'm so excited.
I was watching this with editor Sam. He goes, oh my gosh, Dobermans. I was like, yay, they're being so good too. They're just sitting so nicely.
So good with their little Cassian collars on. They're so good.
Coming out of the elevator, little sweet boys. So Madeline is escorted over to the couch. Go away, but keep your ass handy. Very fun. We're introduced to Liesel, who wears only a sarong and necklaces. I mean, there's so much side boob here. It's astounding.
Yeah, the jewelry placement is very intentional.
Very intentional. Very intentional.
And Liesel's played by Isabella Rossellini.
Yeah.
Stunning.
Stunning. You're just like, oh my God. This whole thing. Okay, so Liesel is, let's just do it. She's 71. She looks, I mean, she's 39 in real life during this. They say 38. She looks, I would say 30s.
Yeah, 30s.
Yeah, 30s. She looks
I don't think it's like, I think she looked 30. She didn't look younger than 30. But I remember one of the fun facts that I read is that she, you know, she has Meryl guess, like, how old do you think I am? And she goes, 38. And she was offended. Meanwhile, she was only 39 when she was doing this. And Meryl was like, oh, 28, you know. She's like, I'm 71. Like, okay, well, 38's still a good number if you're 71.
Yeah. And Liesl starts, like, really saying kind of batshit stuff, which is great. You know, I only follow the spring. I haven't seen a winter or an autumn. You know, your skin is so warm. You know, we have to witness our own decay. This is life's like greatest like tragedy. You know, screw the natural law. You're scared of your own body. It's great stuff. And the acting that Liesl does with her eyes, you're like, whoa, it's really
very intense. But she's perfect for this.
Yeah, the whole situation is very intense, and then we have the potion reveal. It's in an Egyptian like ankh box, and then she takes it. If you look at that potion up close, there is like Lahaba-esque flame dancing women in there, which makes the viewer wonder then what is that made out of?
I need to rewatch this now to see that.
Yep. Is it sinister? What could it be? Why is there ladies dancing in there? What kind of essence is this? This is all just, you know, because it's pink. Because it's pink and it's so fun in that little crystal, like, I love it.
And I'm going to save my question in a moment. So this is the scene where she does like a trial. She doesn't even do, and you know what? She doesn't do a palm cut. She does a needle prick on her finger. And she doesn't put the blood into the potion. She brings the potion to Meryl to be like, here's just a little sampling of this little bit of what it can do to your hands. And I don't know if people are as vain as I am. Hands are the first sign of aging. So it was actually the perfect example to use. And that's why, I mean, it's when we apply sunscreen, we typically forget to apply them on our hands. Or if you get your nails done, when you're getting your, you know, if you get like gel manicures or something, you don't think in the middle of winter to put SPF on your hands, or if you're bike riding. So I thought that was really interesting. Again, this is stuff that has been going on for ages. And it is only until like the last 20 years or so that it has become more mainstream to have these conversations and discussions, especially the importance of SPF. And that's coming from somebody who used to just slather on baby oil. So like, yes, I have learned. I'm trying to make up for damages, okay?
Well, and it's true too, because the age spots on the hands go, and you get to see her huge ring, and you get to have the best conversation, I think. One of my favorite moments in the entire movie is this conversation. How much?
I was going to say the fact that she saw it first and she goes, how much? Like, no questions asked. Let's get to it.
Let's do this. Let's do this. And then it's like, oh, the sordid conversation of coin. I cannot tell you how much. It's different for everybody. How much is it for me?
I know. She was not fucking around. And I love that for Madeline.
Like, it's amazing. And then we get the number, then we get the thing, and then it goes, we get the trial, and then it's, is the check okay? Yeah, fine.
Yes.
Yeah, fine. It's so funny.
Which is also like me in my deluded head. I'm like, oh, so like I'm hopeful that this is something that I can buy and it's not like a soul for a soul trade.
Yeah, well, exactly. Because it's
set up like that.
Yeah,
initially
it is. It's set up like that initially. But then, of course, like Meryl takes the potion, bottoms up. She drinks it, and then Lisa's like, "And now a warning." And Meryl's like, "Now." Now? It's just the most realistic, fucking funny response to a situation. Like, oh, yeah, I think I'd be that too. Like, are you fucking kidding me? You're waiting until now? Fuck you. But then it's the rest of the thing. It's like, you've got 10 years and then you have to retire or fake your death or like be alone, like whatever it is. You've got 10 years of perfect youth and then people are going to get suspicious. So you got to dip.
They're suspicious that you're not aging. So they like pull a Twilight and have to move every so often.
Mm-hmm. And then she's like, take care of your body, you're gonna be together for a really long time. It's like, okay, good to know. The line she says is absolutely amazing. She says, what is this? It's a touch of magic in a world obsessed with science. I love it. It's so good. It is, though, and we have the little pin that she puts on her.
Yeah, it's like the magical pin to be like, you've been touched by magical beings. I don't know.
And then after this, Madeline goes right home. But while Madeline has been getting her tonic, her elixir of youth, Helen, practicing in the mirror, I need to speak to Madeline. Madeline, right now. No. Madeline, now. And then she backs up and she has a full-on, hey, Arnold, Helga fucking shrine situation in front of her vanity.
Yeah, it's like a shrine / murder board.
Yeah.
Because the way she has all these clippings of Madeline, and then you start seeing Ernest clipped there too, and like their high school photos together of like specifically Meryl, or now I'm doing it, Madeline, and Helen's photos from high school. So like she's murder boarding, shrining this shit right now.
Yeah. And she goes over and she's like, I need to speak to Madeline now. And Ernest is like, she's not here. She's like, oh, thank God. And she's like, I just want to be with you. It was kind of like the performance was very reminiscent to me. And of course, this is backwards, but of Nicole Kidman trying to seduce the Duke in Moulin Rouge. She's like, you must know the effect you have over women. It's kind of like the same vibe. And, the dress too. It's just really good. But they start like making out, right? But I do like
Tell me to leave. You just got here.
You just got here. But I also like how Ernest is like, I didn't like hear you. How'd you get in?
I didn't hear the gate.
Yeah.
Never mind you.
Never mind. It's not important. It's really fun. But as they're making out, this is where we get the plan, right? Like the plan of how like divorce isn't enough. It's California. Very funny.
Yeah.
Very funny.
Oh, because it was always like 50-50 with divorce in California at that time.
And divorce in California, it's like you have to like sit with it for like 6 months to like really and like go through counseling before you're allowed. It's like very involved. California is a very involved divorce state. So it's like divorce isn't enough in California. It just like drags out the process. So we have to kill her. It'll be faster than going through all of the legal steps, which like it does make sense. So do you remember her plan?
They were It was long. They were going to poison her. They were going to like lace the glasses with like this, like you can't even tell poison. And it was going to be, they were going to put her in a body bag, right?
Goldie. It's Goldie. Goldie wants Ernest to lace every single wine glass, and then she will invite herself over to dinner, and then Madeline will drink wine from the wine glass, and it's it's Narcol, which is a alcohol-specific, like, poison, I guess. And she will drink all of that, and she will pass out and die. They will take her body, drive her up to the top of Mulholland Drive, call the cops, say they see a drunk woman. They're going to put her body into the car, wedge her foot under the pedal, pour
and they were gonna have all the alcohol
everywhere. Yeah.
It was like, they were like, oh, she just drank a little, and it's like 7 handles of whiskey.
Yep. And then they'll send her flying off
the
cliff. Yep. And then by the time they find the body and do blood alcohol and test everything for toxicology, it'll just be a very high blood alcohol. I think they said like 0.40. She deserved it. And that'll be that. And that is the plan, which I think is hilarious. Like it's hilarious. Like really
it can't be executed.
Yeah. Like it's not gonna,
nobody would buy if somebody saw 4.0 BAC and they would be like, this was a setup. I feel like anybody would be like,
yeah, like
not
that,
so much.
Yeah, that's not quite right. But these are the moments, right? Like Helen leaves and Madeline comes home.
I think we should just use their actor, their stage names.
We're screwing them up.
Because Meryl and Madeline and Helen and
Madeline comes home. She's like youthful, right? Like she had her moment in the mirror of her boobs coming up and her.
So, like, she was like, oh, her ass, she was like, my ass is lifted. My boobs are perkier. I am feeling myself and I'm going to leave my husband.
Mm-hmm. So she goes home, puts on her black cat suit, her pink tulle little cover up. She looks great. Ernest comes in drinking. Madeline, we got to talk. What happens now is domestic violence. And it starts off with a very vicious argument. Flaccid. I was laughing. Like, it's not, like, I'm not laughing at DV. I'm not laughing at DA.
It's not funny. It's not funny.
It's her delivery of that line.
It's the delivery and the fight, because I feel like that fight is also very real. Feel like, oh, you are, you're as boring as the dead people you take care of. I'm going to live my life. You sucked the youth out of me. And he's saying the same thing. He's like, I was better without you. Like, they're just having that sort of marital spat at the top of a marble staircase. And can I tell you, I thought of your uncle's place when I saw that marble, knowing Grandma shattered her hip.
Yeah, marble does not give. So when Ernest cannot take being called flaccid any longer, and he puts his hands on...
That's the thing that set him off.
Flaccid.
She's like, I should ride your stiff patients. I'll get a better ride out of them. I die. It's like a good fight. It's a good fight. And it's like good low blows that she knew was going to get. Like, I would do that shit.
And he was like, did you really think I was going to sit here and take it? She's like, of course I did. You're going to take it. You've always taken it. You'll take whatever I give you. And he
it's so fucking good.
Oh, it's good. And he snaps. He puts his hands on her and he starts choking her out. And then he's like, you vicious little heinous bitch. And then eventually he snaps out of it. And he's like, oh my God, like Madeline, I'm so sorry. But her heels catch on the step of the thing. And then she's like, help me, as he's like freaking out. She's like, help me, you asshole, essentially. And he like, boop. And
he was not saving her after that.
Nope. And then what happens is it's very funny because it is very clearly a mannequin. It is not real. This tumble down the stairs. It is comical. The way that the angles and everything, the way that she lands.
The landing is hilarious. And her just laying there at the bottom, the mannequin of her laying at the bottom of the stairs.
And so clearly fake.
And then, him calling Helen immediately after. Helen is the only one with the brain between the two of them, obviously, because she's like, and now the focus is only on him on the phone call. So the out of focus is the background, including Madeline's dead body. So just formulaically, if you watch movies, horror or theatrical or not, that body in the background is going to either not be there or going to start moving. And they do it so well because it's just one thing. And then you wait a good 30 seconds till it moves again. So you, even as the viewer and the audience member, I know they're going to move. Did they just move? Did I miss that? And because it's so sleight of hand. And then she becomes more animated. And meanwhile, Ernest is on the call with Helen. Helen's like, you're a fucking idiot. You have her dead in the house. This wasn't the plan, as if her plan was going to be perfect. This wasn't the plan. And isn't it going to look sus that you called me instead of 911, now it looks like we're cooperating. And he's like, well, we are. And she's like, that's not the fucking point. We're going to have a new story. The new story is we were on the phone the whole time and she fell down the stairs.
Yep. Oh, it's good. The funniest part, Helen, it's me, Ernest Menville. Like, she doesn't fucking know. It's so funny.
I'm telling you, man, be stupid.
Men. Oh, it's funny. Okay. So in the background, Madeline has come back alive. Alive is stretching it. Madeline is animated.
Yes.
She's animated and she's up and her head is on backwards and she starts talking mad shit to Ernest. Like, Ernest, you're in this shit now. She's trying to
doesn't realize the tumble that she took.
Yeah, does not get it. She's trying to get the phone to call the cops. She's talking mad shit to Ernest. She sits down. She realizes there's something wrong with her neck, and then she starts to freak out. Ernest starts to freak out. Snap cut to the hospital. Hello, Sydney Pollack. Nice to see you. Nice to see you here, Sydney. I didn't recognize you here. Uncredited role, Sydney Pollack, R.I.P. And this whole doctor interaction is so fucking funny. And your neck, let me just say, okay, all right, kids.
It's something.
It's something. I don't know what to tell you. Because he's like, your wrist is fractured in 3 places. You've shattered your vertebrae. Like, I don't know what to tell you. You're up here walking and talking. And Ernest is like, what does it mean? He goes, exactly. What does it mean?
Well, and at this point, this is the second medical professional because Ernest is technically the first. Mm-hmm. And he's trying to keep everybody calm and he can't be calm himself. He's like, I've heard about a dislocated neck and people still living, but I've never seen it in real life. And meanwhile, he's crashing into things at the hospital. The second doctor comes in, which is her first. It's like, I guess they're primary care physician. He leaves to get another opinion. Man has a heart attack because he goes to get her pulse. She doesn't have one. And he's like, math isn't mathing because she's here. She's talking to me. She's sitting upright, bones a little protruding, but other than that, what the hell is happening? He dies of a heart attack, which at first I thought it was because she did this elixir. I thought it was a life for a life. So there's just shock, because of, everything needs balance and magic. So that's immediately where my head went. And then when she's still living, I was like, not life for a life.
Not life for a life. Just death. Just dying out of shock because it's shock. Where's my wife? Where's my wife? Ernest comes back. She's in the morgue. Oh, she'll be furious.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's going to kill me, because he knew, and she was. And she's like, I'm so scared. I'm so dark. Am I in the morgue?
Am I in the morgue? Oh, it's so funny. And then, of course, Ernest takes all of this as a calling for him. He's like, I'm being challenged. You're a miracle.
Of course he does.
He takes it onto himself. This is me. This is my calling. And we go from there to him giving her a killer spray tan.
It's so good. His makeup is on. Her cheekbooks are snatched. She looks so good. And he's like, you stop moving. Do you know what you look like? I told you I'm not going to deal with you yelling at me if I don't get this right. It's so good. And it is funny because he's ready to leave her for Helen, and he feels like, I went from plastic surgeon to mortician of the stars. We really are meant to be. This is our second chance at our marriage. That's where his head is at this point.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Helen in her spy outfit, beret, sunglasses, leather.
That beret is it's very Troop Beverly Hills.
Yeah, it's just lovely. It's just fantastic shit. She sneaks in, whatever, because she sees she sees Ernest bring Madeline's body into the house. So she's like, what is he doing? Like, what is going on? So she comes into the house with like this red, like mesh, like veil on or whatever, and scares the absolute piss out of Ernest. Absolute piss out of Ernest, who has like unplugged the phone and he's like fully focused onto this project of like fixing Madeline. So when Helen is in, she's like, where is she? Cough her up. Ernest is like, she's resting. She's resting. She's not ready to be buried yet.
If she's still here, she can kiss my ass. And then Madeline appears.
Kiss my what? And she, as you said, looks stunning. Stunning. She's walking down the stairs and she's like, so what are you plotting together? What are you still plotting? Because Helen has spilled the whole plan while Madeline was like up there listening, and she had like scratched her nails into the banister when she heard about all this plot. And we have, it's alive. The shock. Helen drops everything that she's holding. And then we have, oh boy, this is a bad situation developing, Helen. I think you should leave. And then we have a girl fight. Jess, tell me about this girl fight.
This is the part where I was like, I know what's going to happen. But they got to get it out of their system first. They are so hurt and frustrated, but like, that's the deeper part of it. The surface level is they're angry at each other. You know, you're taking it seems like you're fighting over a man, but it's so much deeper. To the point where Madeline has some anger issues, and Ernest is very aware of this. So when at one point Madeline disappears, grabs the shotgun off the wall, and goes to kill Helen. And of course, Ernest is trying to be like, no, don't do this. You know better, whatever. Shoots her. Madeline shoots Helen. Helen lands in the pool and has a huge hole in her stomach. And now they, as in Madeline and Ernest, have to figure out, now we have this other thing that we have to clean up, and you're an accomplice. You're here. Go get the plastic. Go get don't you think somebody heard the shot? She's like, we're in LA. What neighbors are you talking about? We haven't seen neighbors in like 15 years. We don't have any neighbors. And this is the part also where Helen comes back to life. And now
wait, I've got to stop you. Don't you know what they do to soft, bald Republicans in prison?
How could I forget? I texted you immediately. I can't believe it's like another thing. I was like, I can't believe y'all I can't even say gatekeeping. Y'all just didn't force me to sit down with this sooner because it was gold. How has nobody talked about that more? It is a presidential election season.
So funny. It's so funny. The other really good one, she's dead. These are the moments that make life worth living. Gold. It's all gold. Sorry. Continue.
So Helen comes back to life, and it is at this point that Madeline realizes, oh shit, she did the youth elixir too. And she's like, I should have known. There's no way she could have looked this good and had this much revenge without help. But Madeline's also recognizing like pot kettle because she did exactly the same thing. So now they have their full-on fight where they're getting like swords. They're trying to, staffs. They're trying to fight each other with like sticks. Madeline tries to throw one through hell. I mean, you have to see. It's a great scene. And at this point, and then Ernest is like, part of him is like, oh my God, Helen is alive too. This truly is my life's mission. Like, how am I so lucky? And then when they need to fight it out, at this point, he's like, this shit runs deep. I'm gonna go upstairs for a bit. And they get it out of their system. they start to communicate that it was so much deeper than just like Ernest. And then they realize, wait, we need to start making a plan. We have to get him to make us look good because now we're both dead and we got to live with this. And they're dead because of how they technically died, but they are also the living dead because they took this elixir.
Yes. And the fight was brutal. The shovel fight, on guard, bitch. So it's so funny. It's so funny. Oh, okay. The deep relationship here, I hurt you and I envied you. It was so hard, like needing you but hating you at the same time. Like this really is the definition of like a frenemy situation. I mean, to the core here. Ernest, they go up to Ernest. Ernest, fix us, please. And he's like, yeah, one condition, I'll fix you, and then I'm leaving. I'm done. I'm not going to do this anymore. He fixes them, and Ernest starts to like pack up to leave, and they're like getting themselves together, and like there's a little, oh, you're still wet. Oh my God. Like Ernest isn't going to live forever. He does the best work. Will he still come back to do touch-ups? No, let's just take him to Liesl's. Well, he won't just go to Liesl's. How are we going to get him to Liesl's? We'll drug him. Like, no hesitation.
I you know what I love? It became, these were the parts where they were like, once they got it out of their system, they realized it was them against the world. And I really we love girlhood.
We love girlhood. Especially too, because Ernest comes out of this and he's like, no, like my vows were till death do us part. Like I'm done. Like I'm done. Like y'all are dead. Like it's finished. And then it's one vase over the head and he's like, what? And then it's another vase over the head. Like we're all in this together. And he falls down the stairs, those goddamn stairs. And he wakes up at Liesl's.
Wait, no, they saved him from falling down the stairs because the stairs would have killed him. They pulled him back because they were like, wait, we still need him to live.
Pulled it back, which he did not do for either of them.
No.
But here we have Liesl swimming in her pool. We love it. We love a huge indoor pool like that.
It's very Cruel Intentions.
It's very Cruel Intentions. Very Gossip Girl too. I love it. Ernest wakes up in a suit. There's a big party upstairs. Like, what are you doing? I'm loving you. I'm here to give you a present, life, youth, forever. And of course, a man is like, what? What if I get bored? I'm sorry.
What? Yeah, how many times have we, because that was going to be one of my questions that I asked you. I was like, would you, obviously we know, because it's like, what's the saying? Like, do you have a true friend if your true friend wouldn't find you when they were a vampire and turn you? Like, no, that's exactly what you would do. So I know what your answer is, that you would take the elixir, but would you do it under these stipulations?
I would try to negotiate, but honestly though, if that's the only way that I can get it,
right?
Whatever.
Because
I'll
then
make
you're
it
saying,
work.
you're like, fake your death and then stay
and
inside and not socialize for the rest of your threaten me with a good time,
right? Like, let's go.
And then I could only hang out with other people who've taken the elixir.
Oh no. Oh, what if I'm lonely? What if I'm bored? What if I fall down the stairs? Shut the fuck up, guy. Shut the fuck up.
He's so stupid. Here's the thing. I almost think that his thing was not just the board thing, but he was thinking, do I have to spend the rest of my life with these two?
With these two women. Yeah. Taking care of these two women for the rest of my life. Like, oh my God.
I think that was what he was scared about.
But then he says, like, the line that's always the line that's thrown around when you're talking about immortality. I have to stay like this and watch everybody die around me. This isn't a dream. This is a nightmare. This all must be stopped. And then he fucks off and runs away into the mansion. And Lisa's like, he won't get far at his age. Just really funny. Really funny. But Ernest, he's running through the mansion. We get to see like people. We get to see Elvis, right?
See Marilyn.
Andy Warhol, Marilyn. We see all these people. Ernest fucks off to the roof, which I think is like, okay. All right. He starts to do stuff. He's trying to make everything happen. He falls, catches himself on a crane. This is very dramatic. This is kind of the end of the movie. He catches himself on a crane. He's up there. Meryl and Helen, they're up there too. They're like, drink it. That way when you fall, you won't die. You can put yourself back together. Like, we need you. And it's like, drink it, you moron. And he's like,
he really thought, I can't do this for eternity.
Mm-hmm. And he said, I'd rather die. Which, good on him, I guess.
I guess.
Make your decision and stick with it.
Yeah, but you could have just fucked off in another part of the world. I just think people are stupid, that they don't know how to use this opportunity the way we want.
I know. They don't see your
people
potential.
Are stupid because they don't agree with us. That sounds awful.
Nah. But what does he say? He says, you're on your own. He smashes the potion. He chooses death, and he falls. He falls into the pool. He ends up living. He does.
Or he could have, there's so many different. He could have microdosed like they did with the hands. He could have. He's a doctor. He's a scientist. He could have integrated that into his work. I just think he did not think this whole thing through.
Nope, not at all. Not at all. Now we are moving forward. We're moving forward. Our bodies are peeling. We have to take care of each other from now on. We are with each other forever now.
We are who we have. Yeah.
Now it is a sisterhood. Now we are, forever. Now, this is the end of the movie. 37 years later, life begins at 50. We are at Ernest's funeral. He remarried. He had 6 children.
He had a shit ton of kids.
6 kids. He is a rugged outdoorsman. He wanted to make the world better. Of course, we can't forget the Ernest Menville Study of Women, the Marriage Counseling Center. And of course, his AA, which is not funny and very important. And we have our ladies laughing in the back.
Oh, they're just 2 old biddies who are just get it, dying, quite literally. And they're trying to sneak out, and then they're hearing, the true way you can live forever, and their ears perk up again. They're like, oh, we're onto something. Tell. I'm listening. What are you saying? And then, of course, the person who's kind of giving the eulogy and wrapping up the funeral is like, procreate and have all these kids so you can live forever. And they were like, oh, fuck that. And they dipped. And they quit, and then they fell apart. But you know how sometimes if you do press-ons or something, you carry nail glue with you, or you have a nail file. Their version of that, and in their decrepit elixir age, is keeping their shade of spray paint in the purse, and somebody dropped it, left it on the stairs, they tripped and fell, and then they're literally in pieces outside of the church.
Yeah, do you remember where you parked the car? And that's how the movie ends. It's great. It's really so much fun. Just quirky, campy, dark humor, but fun.
I have no notes. I'm so excited. The whole time I was like, oh my gosh, this would make a great Broadway play, knowing that this is going to be a Broadway play. It comes to Broadway in fall. We're recording this in summer 2024. It'll be on Broadway in 2024. Megan Hilty is going to play Madeline. I don't know if anybody knows Megan Hilty, but she played Marilyn on Smash, on the show Smash. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, we need the Smash Broadway. And that one's also coming in the spring of 2025. So Megan Hilty. Michelle Williams is going to play Liesel, but they renamed her for the Broadway show. And Michelle Williams of Destiny's Child, Michelle Williams, she's going to be in. I was like, that's all I need to know. I haven't seen her on Broadway since Aida, but... Mm-hmm.
It's just it's so fun. I just am so thrilled that you love this movie. I didn't know what to expect.
I'm mad this wasn't one of you. We've been friends forever. I can't believe. But in fairness, I feel like everybody I am friends with just assumed. Yeah, of course Jessica saw that already.
It's the best. It's the best.
It's so this is another one of those movies that I feel like you can have in the background. But what I find interesting, and this is coming from like the fun facts, there were different endings to this movie. So they said like you can see it different times and it was a different ending. We both saw this on Amazon Prime. So we watched it through there. So the ending, I don't know, maybe there's like, and this goes to like owning physical media. There's probably like a DVD out there with all of the alternate endings. I'm sure there's something on YouTube or something. But like, could you imagine not knowing which version you're going to get when you go to the movie? Or like somewhere, maybe the West Coast had one ending and like Middle America had one ending and the East Coast had another ending. Like, how fun.
Well, that just kind of goes with like how fun the movie is too, right? That just is just another like, oh my God, everyone should watch it, right? Do you have a list of fun facts, Jess? You wanna kick us off?
Yeah. So some of the fun facts that I have is this, aside from like us feeling like this movie was ahead of its time, it actually was in the sense of like photorealism, because it was like the first time that they used the software that softened, like it was like a skin softener to keep like everybody looking so youthful in the movie. During like the de-aging scene, they had these like push-up bras for Meryl, and they didn't feel like it was real enough, so they had her dresser like off screen pushing them up, like pushing her boobs up themselves. I thought that was really fun. The movie's special effects makeup won an Oscar for best visual effects. I would say the movie broke even. Like they had like a bit of a profit, $3 million. I say a bit, like $3 million wouldn't be wonderful for all of us. But it was making, let me see, it was like $55 million budget, and it made 58 domestically. But it did do 149 million worldwide. So it is a box office success, which is why like we introed it the way that we did, because this feels like a cult classic, at least in the circles that I know. But we've also discussed that what typically is a cult classic is it starts off as a flop and it gains notoriety. And this was a success, but it still feels like a cult classic. The multiple endings, and yeah, those are kind of my key ones. What do you have?
Awesome. My fun facts. All right. Marilyn accidentally scarred Goldie's cheek with the shovel in real life.
I hope they're friends in real life. I hope
Me
they
too.
still like do a text, be like, "Hey, you still got that scar,
bitch." I hope so.
Or like Goldie sends her like a GIF of how do you like these? Do you want to know how I got these scars?
Oh, we can hope.
That'd be so fun.
We can hope. The play in the beginning, the musical, is 1962's Sweet Bird of Youth by Tennessee Williams.
Oh, it's a real play.
Mm-hmm. Meryl thought that she would be auditioning for Helen. The way that they were able to do the effect of Meryl's head on a backwards was a blue screen hood and walking backwards. Meryl had to do this movie. She read the script and said it was just too original not to do. There is a tagline, "Hold on to your butts," that made it into Jurassic Park, because here the director was using it a lot, and there's a lot of Jurassic Park production here that was in both movies. Very fun.
Wait, did Robert Zemeckis direct Jurassic Park?
No, but he was. It's like a script thing for Samuel L. Jackson. "Hold on to your butts." It like came from here because they were all talking. It's like a whole thing. Yeah. This was like kind of pitched as going to be a sequel to Tales from the Crypt from 1972. You could kind of see it like that. I mean, it doesn't really play out that way, but it's fun. The director also got an Oscar for Roger Rabbit. So, you know, multi-Oscar winner.
And he's the director of Forrest Gump.
Kevin Kline was going to be Ernest. Bruce replaced him. Kurt Russell can be seen giving an interview in the hospital. Shout out.
What?
Shout out Kurt Russell. We love him because he's been with Goldie.
And they were already together for so long at that point.
Yep. The mental hospital is kind of designed after One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Sydney Pollack is the doctor.
See that.
Yep. I already said Sydney. This is Meryl's last special effects movie. She said it was really weird and like going to work in a dentist office. The mansion is a real place. You can find that address. Meryl was 43 when she did this movie. And Madeline, Ernest, and Helen, if you shorten their names, because in the movie it's Mad and Hell, Mad. When you put it together like that, it's Matter and Hell. Like,
was that intentional?
I see it everywhere, so it has to be like, yeah. This is, of course, a gay cult classic. Again, the touchstone of a queer community situation. This is very big in certain circles, as we said. Again, the OG ending was changed, deleted, testing, not great, but it is still out there, sort of, I guess. You can kind of find it. This was released the same week as Buffy. Liesel was going to be Cleopatra. That's very fun.
Oh, like Cleopatra was going to be the character offering?
Yep.
That is very cool.
Yep. And Goldie thinks that they should have killed each other, and that should have been the ending. And Bruce Willis pitched 2 titles for this movie. It's Death, baby! And My Man Death.
Of course he was like, my man. Like, these are such
It's Death, baby!
It's Death. Like, you could see him, you know, and it's also like a very Vince Vaughn line. Like, when, you know, when he's like, sprinkle, sprinkle, baby, sprinkle, sprinkle.
Sprinkle, sprinkle, baby.
And, of course, those are the titles that he wants to go with. It's so funny. Well, I remember, and we'll put the link in the show notes, you had sent me quotes from a Vanity Fair article that I loved. I'm just going to like quote part of it, which I can't imagine Meryl like, oh, they should have stopped at their fight. They should have died there. But I feel like that sisterhood story, that's where it starts. So that setting up, the quote from Vanity Fair is, they're fighting for beauty, which, you know, we spoke about at the beginning of the episode on just like the societal expectations when it comes to women and aging. They're fighting for beauty, Campbell said. They're against the system. They're also villains, but we understand their complexity. We root for the undead divas because they're trying to win a game that's rigged against them. And to borrow a quote from Ginger Rogers, they sort of have to do it because they have to do it and backwards and in high heels. I think it's really feminist that they're willing to take their lives into their own hands and do whatever it takes. Be willing to spray paint themselves and fill themselves with cement or whatever to just uphold themselves and try to stay in command.
Yeah.
So like we'll link the article, but like that's like there's so many layers to this movie. It's so good.
It's so good. Jess, do you have a favorite part?
All of it. I think it's the one-liners. It's because they're so dry and it's sarcasm and it's witty and it takes a very specific type of person to enjoy that type of humor. And then, of course, I really enjoy once Helen and Madeline realized they're no longer each other's enemy. There's a bigger common enemy that they have to come together for. What about yours?
Oh, gosh. Again, I think just like you, all of it. But I think the first interaction with Liesel. Now? You're going to warn me now? How much? How much for me? It's so good. It's like one of the most realistic magical exchanges that I've seen, where it's just like, just cut the crap. Like, do you take a check? Just, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe the check hasn't aged well, but like that concept absolutely has.
Yeah. It's just so perfect. It's so lovely. I hope that more people watch this movie. I hope that we see more of like Halloween. It's such a great costume for Halloween.
Have you seen the costumes where people put the mirrors on their stomach?
Oh, yes.
Yes. I'm like, oh, that's so smart.
I've never seen it. Again, I've never seen anything like this in real life. I would just love it. I just think it's so creative. It's a nice way to do like a couple's costume plus a best friend. Like, amazing.
Absolutely. With that being said, feel free to follow us on Instagram. We're at ACOFAE Podcast. We're also both on TikTok, ACOFAE Laura and ACOFAE Jessica. Thanks so much for taking the time, and we can't wait to hear from y'all soon. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.